Hello everybody, I'm Dan Hayek here with Matt Doyle, here for another edition of our special SuperDraft scouting report. Today we start with the 13th overall pick. That's held by the Houston Dynamo. They've already added Omar Cummings at forward and Erik Brunner in defense. Matt, does that mean they're adding a midfielder here?
No, it doesn't. They're stocked in midfield. They have no need to add new pieces there. What they do need is more defender depth. You mentioned Erik Brunner. He only makes 3 central defenders under contract. The Dynamo could end up playing more than 50 games this season, so you need at least 4 or 5 guys. If they sign Andre Eno to a new contract, that's only 4. So they're going to look at Tommy Muller of Georgetown, Erik Schoenle of West Virginia, maybe even Tucker-Gangnes of Washington, though it would be a reach for him at 13. I would expect them to draft one of those guys. The one caveat, if Blake Smith of New Mexico is still on the board at 13, I think Kinnear will have to look long and hard. Smith is a true winger built for the 4-3-3. He's got the whole bag of tricks on the ball. Great vision, great pace, attacks the back post and can score some as well. He would give them the flexibility that they ended up lacking down the stretch a little bit last year, allow them to switch formations a little more fluidly.
All right, a pick above them is Real Salt Lake. The last 3 years that they've had a first-round pick, they've gone with a midfielder. Is it the same this time around?
I don't think it is. I think this one's pretty easy, actually. Ryan Finley, forward from the University of Notre Dame. He is a pure poacher, a pure goal scorer. He plays a lot like Luke Rogers. He just rides that offside line and wants to get behind the defense every time. Now, he's not a speed burner. He's not going to blow by people, but he has smart speed. He gets the defender on his hip, and they never get around him to get to the ball, and he can finish with both feet. He's also murder on set pieces. He's a big guy, 6 foot 190. The question about him, though, is his attitude. He was kicked off the Duke team as a sophomore, ended up transferring to Notre Dame. Duke and Notre Dame, neither of those schools offer degrees in humility. And there's been some question about that going into the draft. If not Finley, then it could be Erik Hurtado of Santa Clara, maybe Blake Smith, though I don't think he's really a great fit. But they're going to come out of this with a forward.
In the number 11 slot is another team that's picked the same position in the last couple of drafts. That's Chicago. They went center back in back-to-back, and they did really well with Austin Berry and Jalil Anibaba. What do you see this time around?
I think they need to find another goal scorer. So again, Finley, Hurtado both make some sense. The real question is what happens with the Fire if Chris Rolfe goes cold? Shergill McDonald, very good at holding the ball up, a little bit opportunistic, but not a great goal scorer. Patrick Nyarko, Flaco Fernandez, not goal scorers. So one of those forwards makes sense. The other guy, Carlos Alvarez of UConn. Like Rolfe, he plays directly underneath a lone striker, can create plays, can finish them. If he's still on the board at 11, Frank Lopez might have to pull the trigger.
We'll skip up to the number 9 spot now, a rival of Chicago, Columbus Crew picking there. They've lost a lot of bodies this offseason, so it's a matter of depth for them. Who's going to be available at 9 that can help bolster this squad?
A lot of the guys we just mentioned, though, if I was the Crew, I would look very seriously at trading down just to get more picks. Maybe flip that 9 to LA for the 19, their second-round pick, and maybe next year's draft pick as well, because their back line has just been gutted. They need fullbacks on both sides. They need extra central defenders, and they probably need to add a backup to Federico Higuain. Alvarez would make a lot of sense there. Creighton's Jose Gomez as well. But there are so many directions that the Crew need to go in. It's almost impossible to say a week out what they're going to do.
And if they do trade that pick to LA, that means Hollingshead might end up with the Galaxy.
Yeah, a little bit of a happy coincidence right there, wouldn't it be?
Right. That does it for us on this one. Check back in tomorrow where we're looking at 4 teams closer to the top of the draft.